Well, when it comes to who you are, sometimes it's really important to rewrite that identity. And that's what we're talking about today on the Limitless Leadership Lounge. Who are you? Have you ever thought about that? I know it's a very woo woo kind of question, but it's an important one to address because who we are affects who we attract, and that affects the quality of our life overall. So, who are you? We're going to talk about identity today on the Limitless Leadership Lounge. I'm Jon Goehring, joined by Dr. Rehnuma Karim and Coach Jim Johnson. And, Coach, I know you've probably had this happen a lot to you because you're a basketball coach, but you're so much more than that. But people are like, oh, you're the basketball coach. You're the JMac guy. So I'm sure identity for you is something that can be difficult because you're so much more than that. So tell us a little bit about your identity and let's get into the first key to rewriting our identity.
Yeah, so something that changed my life, and I encourage the people that I speak to, whether I'm talking one-on-one or in my presentations, about discovering your personal mission and putting in writing called a personal mission statement. And where I got this idea, started becoming an avid reader in my late 20s. And I read Dr. Covey's famous book, The Seven Habits of Highly Effective People. And one of the habits he talked about is discovering your personal mission. And to be frank, in my 20s, I was what Zig Ziglar famously would call a wandering generality. I was bouncing from wall to wall and really didn't understand a mission or purpose in my life, the famous why that you hear a lot about. So now I really encourage it because I'm very clear about my mission. And when I got clarity of my mission and wrote it down, it helped me because it gave me a great base and foundation to go back when things didn't go so well or didn't go the way exactly I wanted them. But I really discovered who I am. So I'm going to give you a couple thoughts. In discovering your mission, I think you got to ask this question a lot. And it's not going to be something that I think will take you 2 minutes. This took me some time, but I kept asking myself this question: why was I put on this earth? Let me repeat it. Why was I put on this earth? Second piece that I share with people is that getting clarity and helping you discover your mission is, you hear this a lot in business, is what are the core values and the behaviors. So the second piece I really encourage people is to really decide and what is most important. What are your three top core values? Like one of mine is respecting all people. And not only being clear about the values, but understanding the behaviors that you have to keep those values intact. So not only knowing the values, but what the behaviors, and that's something when we got our core values for our team, and we have a team mission as well, but then really declaring and understanding what those behaviors are. And then the final piece is just taking time to think and keep going back to that question with the base of it, of what your values, what you stand for. And I'll end with this is that my mission statement is to be an outstanding role model that makes a positive difference in the world by helping others make their dreams come true. And my final point on that is I think when you discover your mission, I believe strongly is then it's got to be bigger than yourself and it's got to be something where you're creating value. Now, it could be most likely for people, but it could be, creating a better world, with helping animals or just helping the environment. Well, whatever it is, I think it's got to be bigger than yourself. So those are the things that I really encourage people with their personal mission statement. And it should be a New Year's resolution to get clarity, discover, and put your personal mission statement in writing. Dr. Kareem, how about you? What's your thoughts as far as who you are?
Yeah, nowadays, it took me 40 years to know who I am. So now it's a journey. You actually do not know who you are till you go through experiences, failures, setbacks, understanding your motivations. So that is why it took me A lot of experiences, lot of self discovery. I had to move through a lot of self doubt. And then now I know who I am. And often everybody who sees me tells me that, oh, you are a social activist. So interestingly, even people who do not know me, what I'm doing, they come up to me and say that, have this aura of like you will fight for others and you have that social activist tendency. So who knows? I might be like spreading that thing, that aura around. But definitely it took time. And one of the things that I found out uh, about myself, um, moti- exploring my childhood experiences, what I actually enjoyed, what movies did I love, what storybooks did I love to read. And I always channeled into movies that you are a heroic state, you are helping others, you're saving others from different crises. The books that really connected with me was about working with people. And when I also got admitted in computer science in college, just 2 or 3 classes, and I realized that, oh, computer science is not my zone. I'm not the person who can be tied with the computer, but I have to be with people. So again, that exploration, and sometime I will also say that um, understanding your social pressures. Are you giving up or giving yourself to social pressure? Often you are not going to find yourself when you want to please others. And that is when even so many people around me, I'm seeing that, oh, but my parents wants me to be a doctor. My
Mm.
parents wants to me
Yeah.
be a lawyer, and they lose themselves because they do not know what motivates them. So I think it is so important to discovering the self identity. And once you realize that, what motivates you? What are the things that made you happy? Are you surrendering your passion to for others? Then you cannot align yourself with the duties and responsibilities that you are supposed to do. So that is the journey, that path of self discovery, where you can find yourself successful in that meaningful way. So I think some of those things, I know I rambled a lot, but there is a pattern. We need to find a pattern of what we like, what we do, what we do not like. Are we feeling pressured or unhappy when we are compromising ourselves for others? So need to understand those things. And it's a skill. It is not going to be attained in few years, but it might take longer than that.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I love these first two keys. Coach talking about if we're talking about rewriting our identity, it starts with a personal mission statement. And then after
Mm-hmm.
that, Renua, you talked about releasing those social pressures. That's so
Mm-hmm.
important where so we're identifying who we want to be, letting go of some of the things that other people think we should be and that we have just held on to for so long because
Right.
we all know we have some of those. I am this because my parents told me I was. Well, am I really that? Or did my parents just tell
Mm-hmm.
me that? So we need to do that when it comes to rewriting our identity. And the third thing I'm going to suggest to you if you want to rewrite your identity is
Mm-hmm.
to establish 2 or 3 habits in your life that help form your identity. And what I mean by this
Mm.
is what are 2 or 3 things that are consistent with what you want your identity to be. Once you start doing those habits, your identity will follow, will take shape. I'll give you an example. So if you want to be a person who's fit, maybe you have a goal of losing weight, maybe you just want to feel healthier or be fit or whatever the case is, that identity doesn't change by you telling yourself that you're fit. You can tell yourself you're fit all you want, but if you're not fit or you don't feel fit, you don't feel like a fit person, the identity's not going to shift. What shifts that is the habits that you put into place. So that's why, James, they talk about James Clear and atomic habits, right? And a lot of people do use the cliche, the heaviest weight at the gym is the front door, right? So there's
Mm,
that story of going to the gym and literally only doing, 5 minutes of exercise or 2 minutes of exercise and then going home. And people are like, well, what? That's stupid. That's not accomplishing anything. It's accomplishing more than you think because you're establishing a habit that, hey, I am someone who works out. And how this
mm,
works is now you're building a reputation with yourself. All identity is a reputation with yourself and your reputation in front of others. So changing your identity starts with changing your habits. So you have that
mm,
personal mission statement, you let go of those social pressures, and you add 2 to 3 habits. And that's what I'm thinking about this year 2 to 3 habits that really stay consistent with my identity. So I'm a person of faith.
mm,
That's something for me that's very important. I know we're all people of faith here. I'm a Christian, and I think that's very important in my life. But am I living out some of those? Am I establishing some of those habits that reinforce that identity? Not always. I mean, that doesn't change
right,
my identity, but the fact that I don't pray daily, I don't read my scriptures daily, that's not a requirement to be a person of faith. However, if I started doing that, it would allow me to live more confidently in that identity. So
right.
that's the power of habits. And I think that's
Yeah.
that's a great way to round out our 3 ways here.
Let me just
And I just want to
go
go
ahead,
ahead, coach.
Renoma. I'll say
No,
two
I
things.
just, yeah.
I'll say two things is that John, and I think Rehnuma mentioned it too, but that I am statement is so
Mm,
powerful. So remember
Yeah.
when
yeah.
you're saying I am to yourself, like John was talking about the habit, I am someone that works out, but if you say something, I am negative, something negative, then that's going to get in your mind as well. And the last thing I want to
Mm,
say with the personal mission statement is remember when it's bigger than you. And I can't believe this is our January release, but the next month is the 20-year anniversary of the JMac. And the
Mm,
funny part is I was known as the coach that couldn't win the big one. We were winning a lot of games, and that year, it showed what my mission was all about because his dream came true, bigger than I ever
mm,
expected for sure.
mm,
But you know what? It really made me realize that I was living my mission. And then we ended up winning our championship there. And the funny part is, Jason would tell everybody the best thing about his senior season was winning a Section 5 championship. But in my mind,
mm,
ended up winning multiple championships, but nothing was ever better than that for me as a coach and to see Jason's dream come true. So I think that's by having that personal mission statement, I want to challenge everybody that if you live out your mission, you're going to feel great about that I am statement.
mm. Yeah. And I wanted to add because both of you talked about that identity, what I am, who I am. And when we are trying to talk about I am, sometime we have to let go of something to find who I am. Um, so to be I am disciplined. So if I'm talking about I am disciplined, I had to let go of watching Netflix till
mm,
12 a.m. at night. I had to let go of eating foods that could hurt me. I have to let go of sleeping till 8 a.m. or 9 a.m. in the cold winter day, even though I want to. So sometime that I am identity, also we need to let go. We have to chip out so many things to find the real us.
yeah.
So that's what I wanted to add
That's a
at the
powerful
end.
point, Renuma, too, because that's part of the habits is like if I am, for me, eating snack food every night, and eating something that's
Mm.
not good. My diet's usually pretty good, but after 7 p.m., it just for something happens. I don't know what happens.
Right.
It's a disaster. And then but what I need to do habits wise is what you're saying, cutting that out adds to my identity of I'm a healthy eater. And
Mm,
maybe fixing that by using a positive statement, I think helps. So instead of I am not going to do this, what am I going to do instead? I am going to
mm,
eat, bananas and whatever at night instead of chips and pretzels. Instead of I'm going to try and avoid. So it all the way we talk to ourselves can be very powerful. It's amazing,
mm.
but that's all part of those habits. Any final thoughts from the two of you as we talk about rewriting our identity?
I
I'm
just
drinking a glass of milk now. Go
That's a great
so
idea. Skim milk, right? Hopefully skim milk.
yeah, no, it's whole milk.
Whole
I
milk.
still have I still haven't been able to discipline myself into skimmed milk. I need my real whole milk for a good night's sleep.
Last thing I know, John mentioned about James Clear and Atomic Habits, but I think is, and I've listened to James in a number of podcasts. And the one thing that keeps coming back, I want to encourage everybody's here, Dylan, is you have to develop systems. And systems is just a group of habits
Yeah.
that you're putting together that are for the positive, because we can have bad systems that lead to disaster. But if you
Right.
develop those good systems, so something to really think about is you're getting your identity is, are you developing the right systems to create the identity that you expect for yourself?
So again, just to rerun those three things that we talked about, ways to rewrite your identity if you're looking to really change your life. It starts with how you see yourself. Coach talked about your personal mission statement. Rehnuma talked about finding those things that are consistent with your values and then letting go of those other social pressures around you. And then I talked about those habits, and Coach mentioned the systems to put in place to reinforce that identity in those I am statements. So what are you looking to change your identity to, or how are you looking to shift your identity? Do you have a personal identity or a personal mission statement this year in 2026? We'd love to hear about it. Leave us a comment down below if you're watching on YouTube. Be sure to subscribe if you're on Spotify or Apple Podcasts. And we'd love it if you're getting value from these quick discussions that we do. Tell us about it. We are doing these once a month. We have guests weekly, and we do this once a month to bring you some extra content and insights from the three of us. And be sure to leave a review if this is resonating with you. Thanks for listening to the Limitless Leadership Lounge, and we will catch you next week.